last episode, I said maybe we need to do a dramatic interp of this thing and read it. And foolishly, we've decided to do exactly that. Not read the entire thing, folks, but it has been accused of reading like a screenplay, like we said. So I guess the luck of the draw is that I will be playing. This is so ridiculous. I'll be playing Eric Davis today, and Ross, you'll be playing Thomas Wilson.
Admiral Tom Wilson.
Okay. So, and we just thought, it might be interesting to be driving in a car or relaxing, watching your YouTube or whatever, and just sort of hear it read out loud and ask yourself, for your own purposes, does it sound authentic? So I'm going to start with Eric Davis on page 8, who says, "So what special access program compartment did you find this in?"
Core secret. Won't say.
Code name?
Again, won't say. Core secret.
Who was the project contractor or U.S. government agency that runs the program?
An aerospace technology contractor. One of the top ones in the U.S.
Who?
Core secret. Can't tell.
A defense contractor?
Yes, the best of them.
Intelligence, too?
In their corporate portfolio.
Give a hint?
Sorry, no.
What happened when you found the contractor?
I made several calls, end of May 97, first to Paul, Mike, and Perry, their senior Defense Department officials, to confirm I had the right contractor and program manager to talk to.
Did they confirm?
Yeah.
Then?
Made 3 calls, end of May 1997, to the program manager, one of them conference call with security director and corporate attorney. Confusion on their part as to why I was looking for them and what I wanted from them or wanted to know about. Very testy tone from all of them.
What do you mean?
They were agitated about my calling, surprised by call.
What you asked them?
Yeah.
What was that? What words?
I read their program record in the USDAT, the Office of the Undersecretary for Defense, something or other in technology, Special Programs Record Group, and wanted to know about their crashed UFO program, what their role in that was, what they had. Also asked if they knew of MJ-12 or some such organization code relating to crashed, recovered UFO craft.
Reaction on phone to that?
Yes. Asked who I talked to before I called them. So I told them, and they weren't happy with that answer.
You mean about Perry and Paul, etc.?
Oh, no, I didn't tell them I talked to those guys.
Whom else do you talk to?
There were the other program managers I called.
You didn't mention that before.
Thought I said something.
Who were they?
3 programs who said they weren't who I was looking for. 4 programs that referred me back to the present threesome.
Why the latter?
Because they were part of it, in different compartments, placed in different layers of the compartment's pyramid, split up to do different things or parts of it. They're all in same records group, but their connection to each other is not obvious. Typical thing, but unusual in records.
What then?
I told Threesome I wanted a formal briefing, a tour, etc. Was exploiting my regulatory authority as Deputy Director DIA, Assistant Joint Chief of Staff, J2. Told them my not being briefed was oversight they needed to correct. I demanded.
And by the way, I'm enjoying this so much, Ross, because I've got the easy part. All I have to do is ask questions. But actually, you have still more from Thomas Wilson there.
Sure. They needed to discuss this, his demand, so hung up. Got called 2 days later, and they said they don't want to talk on phone and arranged for face-to-face meeting at their facility.
Did you go?
Yes. 10 days later, mid-June or so. Flew out there. Met in their conference room in their secret vault. 3 of them show up.
The 3 guys with whom you had the telecon?
Yes, same 3. Security director, NSA, retired, a CI, counterintelligence expert. Program director, corporate attorney. Called themselves the Watch Committee, or gatekeepers.
Why that phrase or name?
I asked. They said they were formed out of necessity to protect themselves after a near disaster in the past almost blew their cover. Something to do with an agreement that was reached with a couple of Pentagon SESs, Senior Executive Services, overseeing SAP, Special Access Programs, in those days. We're vague about when that was.
Well, what was this?
Let me finish. They said years ago in the past, an audit investigation led to them, and it wasn't supposed to, nearly outed. A battle, a nasty back and forth between them and the investigator and his Pentagon chief ensued, like a tug of war for program transparency. They told me money was the issue. Their hiding out became the other issue. Some kind of threat was leveled to blow the lid off them, so they backed down and let the investigator in to complete his job. They work very hard to keep the program hidden.
So what happened with that?
He was officially briefed, given a tour, and shown their program.
Did they show him a craft or hardware they said was alien or from a UFO?
Didn't say more about that. Said that after that episode, a formal agreement was struck with Pentagon people, the Special Access Program Oversight Committee, SAPOC, to prevent this in future. Didn't want to repeat. Special criteria were established in agreement. A special circumstance that must meet rigorous access criteria set by contractor committee. No U.S. government personnel are to gain access unless they meet the criteria, to be administered by contractor committee, the program director, the attorney, the security director, irregardless of the tickets and position U.S. government personnel possessed. Literally, their way or the highway.
So what are the criteria?
I asked for that, and they refused to give an answer. I was mad. Implication is now, to me, they operate without official oversight or any justification. Politically dangerous place to be. The threesome were concerned with whom I'd talked to at the Pentagon or elsewhere by phone, fax, or email. They wanted an accounting of the conversations, concerned about new exposure. The purpose of the meeting was to tell me this.
What?
That they weren't going to let me in the door.
Why?
They said my tickets were all confirmed and valid, but I was not on the bigot list. My tickets alone weren't enough. I didn't meet the special criteria, so need to know authorization was not being granted. Went back and forth with them over these points, primarily with security director and attorney.
By the way, just I love the fact that need to know makes an appearance in the documents, but enough
Nice
of
of them
that.
to give us a mention, wasn't it?
On you go. Thomas Wilson.
Argued more, they wouldn't accept my arguments that they fell under my statutory oversight and regulatory authority as Deputy Director DIA, under purview for my right to have, need to know, oversight, audit, justification issues, etc., etc. Regulatory and statutory authority as Deputy Director DIA wasn't relevant or pertinent to the nature of their program. Then they pulled out their bigot list to convince me otherwise. Several pages long, dated 1990, updated 1993.
Who was on it? Did you recognize any names?
That is core secret. Willing to say that most were program employees, names and titles, job titles, civilians, didn't recognize any military personnel could be there.
Any politicians?
No White House names, no president, no congressional people, no congressional staffers.
Any of them in the Clinton or Bush senior administrations?
No, but a handful of names were Pentagon individuals I recognized. A few from the Office of the Undersecretary Defense. What's A in OSDAT? Do you know?
It's as you said. I don't know what the A is, but the T is technology.
Defense and something in technology. One from another department, another at the NSC, who is Pentagon SES employee. Program managers said they were not any weapons program, not any intelligence program, not any special op or logistics program. Doesn't fit these categories. I asked them what they were then. Loud groan from program manager. Security director and attorney say it's okay to say it.
Say what?
Drum roll here, boys. This is big.
I don't have my special effects, but in the final edit, we can put that in.
Here we go.
There you go.
They were a reverse engineering program, something recovered years ago in the past. Technological hardware was recovered. So I thought they meant recovered Soviet, Chinese, etc. hardware and reverse engineering, like a missile or intelligence platform or aircraft. Actually came to the meeting expecting to find a sensitive foreign collection and reverse engineering operation. Thought UFOs was used as a cover for that. So I said that, and they said they weren't that either. They had program manager talking a craft, an intact craft they believed could fly. Space, air, water, dimensions. Was it from overseas or not? They said, no, could not be, not possible. Why, I asked. Where did it come from? Program manager said they didn't know where it was from. They had some ideas on this. It was technology that was not of this earth, not made by man, not made by human hands. Said they were trying to understand and exploit technology. Their program was going on for years and years with very slow progress. Agonizingly slow, with little or no success. Painful lack of collaboration to get help from outside community of experts and facilities to assist effort. Must remain isolated and use own facilities and cleared personnel. Tough environment to work. About 400 to 800 bigot list count workers, varying in number with funding or personnel changes. Miller questions asked. These are the questions from Commander Miller. Roswell, craft, bodies, autopsies. Holloman, Air Force Base, landing. MJ-12 and leaked documents. Lonnie Zamora and Bentwaters, RAF Bentwaters in England. This is his answer. They were mum, declined to discuss these. Tom Wilson, I threatened to go to SAPOC to complain, gain access to their program. They said, go ahead, do what you must. I was angry because they defied my authority to be read in with good logical reason, wouldn't budge. Their tone was very testy, terse throughout the conversation.
Now, I have a new line here, but I just have to stop us for just a second. That was more than a mouthful. First of all, nice rendition. I wanted to just point out one thing to people. There is one line in this document that has been put in italics by Dr. Davis, who apparently authored this. And it is the line that Ross said earlier. It was technology that was not of this earth, not made by man, not by human hands. I mean, there it is in black and white in this document. So basically, the reason people are fussing and fighting about whether this document is real or not real is that if it's real, well, there you go. There it is in black and white. If it's not real, then, whatever. Also, because I'm a kind of an aficionado of the MJ-12 documents, to actually see them mentioned in here in not a disparaging way, but as an authentic way, really was quite a shock to me. So with having said that, let me get to the next line from Eric Davis, who said, what was the outcome?
Meeting broke up. I returned to Washington.
What about Corso? And by that, we're talking about Philip Corso, the author of The Day After Roswell, which, frankly, I believe had come out right around the time that 1997 briefing was going on in Washington. So what about Corso?
Greer talked about Corso on April 9th, which was that 1997 meeting. Miller showed me the book during 2-hour private conversation. Didn't have time to read it through. Didn't buy a copy. Didn't bring Corso up at meeting. But comparing the Corso story to what I learned at meeting is more than enough to believe Corso told truth about seeing alien hardware, etc.
Did you complain to SAPOC or SAPOC?
Yes, called the subgroup members, senior review group members, to a meeting at Pentagon. Told them what happened at meeting. They responded that they would sustain the contractor on their access denial. So I ended up arguing with them a while. Broke up in 20 minutes and they would meet me in 2 or 3 days. Got the call 2 days later, near end of June, and met again with senior review group members.
When?
Before last week of June, 97. They told me that they were sustaining the contractor, that I was to immediately drop the matter and let it go. Forget about it, as I didn't have purview over their project. It didn't fall within my oversight, etc. I became very angry, started yelling when I should have kept my mouth shut.
Miller and Greer said you nearly got busted.
Close to that. Told Miller, senior review group chairman, said if I didn't follow their suggestion, I would not see director DIA promotion, get early retirement, lose 1 or 2 stars along the way. Really incredibly angry, upset over this, livid. Why such a big deal over this, considering the position of trust I have in the Pentagon? I do have relevant regulatory statutory authority over their program. That's my position.
Is it because funding comes from you or through you, or the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency?
Core secret. Can't answer.
Okay, back to the bigot list. Can you describe the type of people on it?
Corporate types, scientists and technicians, engineers, scientists, managers, etc.
Any military organizations that you recognized?
None. Just OSDAT people and 2 on the Special Access Program Oversight Committee. 1 other Pentagon office. In December 97, Paul was out as the USDAT. He left the government. So was Mike Kay, replaced 2.
By whom?
Jacques Kanzler was the new USDAT, started December 97. Mike Kay was replaced by Brigadier General M. Ward from the Air Force.
Were Paul Kay and Mike Kay and Jacques Gansler and General Ward the ones on the bigot list that you recognized?
Won't answer that. Talked to Gansler in January 1998 about my June 97 meetings. He was briefed by someone, surprised me.
What did he say?
UFOs are real. So-called alien abductions, not real. Gansler said this.
What else?
Told to drop the matter. No more discussion about it.
Were you willing to talk to Hal Puthoff and Kit Green? And then they went on and discussed who they are and the remote viewing program history. Wilson was not familiar with the names, heard about the remote viewing program in 90. Maybe not for Hal, would think about it. No response on Kit Green. Prefers never to talk to anyone else about this again. Risks exposure. Better to stop talking. Cut it off here.
What will you do with this? Now, I actually think it's important at this moment, Bryce, to make the point that I think this is an implicit admission that he's asking Eric Davis, what will you do with this? Yeah. It sounds to me like he's looking down at a recorder, maybe a digital recorder sitting on the car seat between them. Or at least he's acknowledging that Eric's taking notes of some kind. But there's a reference. What will you do with this?
I mean, you could, I guess, make the argument that by this, he's like this with this talk we've had. But I do think the recorder makes more sense, particularly based on how detailed this is. Anyway, this is the last thing that Eric Davis says in response to that. I'll keep it for private, personal research. Data collection to track down the story and ascertain the signal noise in media and from government sources. We'll keep mouth shut, etc., etc.
I think we'll wrap it there, to be honest. Otherwise, we get people bogged down in complications. But
I just
suffice to say, Bryce, it does read like a transcript. Either that or it reads like a screenplay. So if it is a fabrication, it's a very, very clever fabrication.
Well, here's the thing. For people that make fake documents, you usually, if you're making a fake document, you try to make it look like a real document. So if you were making not to get too convoluted here, but if you were really just trying to make a fake document, the last thing you'd want anybody to say about your fake document is that it reads like a screenplay, right? You'd want it to be in a different format than if you were looking for it to be accepted. This looks to me, as I heard us reading it and read it myself a couple of times, like somebody who is literally just had a really impressive meeting and is desperately trying to write it all down. And I know, because both of us, have worked in the news and investigation business. I've spent my own time in cars after I've talked to somebody, and knowing how quickly my brain is going to lose the specifics, and just stream of consciousness, got everything down as fast as I could do it. I'm sure you have your own way, but I mean, if you were in a situation where you had that long of a conversation with someone, what would you have done afterwards?
I would have definitely recorded it with Eric's permission, of course.
Yeah.
With Tom Wilson's permission. But I assume there's an implicit admission there that there's something going on that he's referring to. What will you do with that? And in my book, I speculate that he's pointing down at a digital recorder. But it is speculation. We just don't know. Other friends of Eric have told me that Eric has a phenomenal memory. But we should emphasize, when I communicated with Admiral Tom Wilson for my research, and he's adamant that this meeting with Eric Davis never took place, that no such admissions were made, and that the memo is a hoax, that it's a fake.
And let's face it, Mike Gallagher, the congressman, during the May 17th meeting, provided the hearings on Capitol Hill, provided, I thought, some of the most dramatic stuff by simply demanding that the Wilson-Davis memo that we've just read out loud be put into the congressional record. So if it's if it's important, it wouldn't be really hard to find out if this had reality to it or not. You really do just drag the people in and you put them under oath and you ask them these questions.